Hello and welcome, all you podcast watchers and listeners. Thanks for joining the Now We Know Better podcast. This is your source. Yeah, I know. I'm just going to leave it at that because source for what? Anyway, my name is Wim van der Zam, and as usual, I'm your moderator and keeper of the keys to this extremely fast-moving vehicle. And during the next hour or so, we'll try really, really hard to inform you, entertain you, and somehow prove that we're not just another pretty face. Okay, today, with my two pod colleagues, we will be discussing, a little politics, a little money, a little bit of sugar, dinosaur reproduction, along with so much more. So you got to hang around. This is going to be a good episode. Unlike all the past ones, you don't have to worry about them.
Past ones have been great. What are you talking about?
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry. We got the email bag coming up because we always like to hear from you. We'll also have our predictions segment, which this time will be about inflation. So maybe we'll give you a little insight there as to what the future might hold, particularly when it comes to interest rates and or maybe the inflation. That's the word I was looking for.
That was the word.
That was it.
And you
did. I did. And everyone always seems to enjoy our world-renowned point-counterpoint segment. My two pod colleagues dueling head-to-head over the current affair topic. Tom won last week, so we'll see how
he didn't win.
Fares.
That was your opinion.
Well, I'm the judge.
Unwinnable. He had an unwinnable argument.
Well, all right. Well, let's see how it plays out between Dave and Tom. But first, let me introduce those two jokers. Telecommunications Goliath, Mr. Tom McDonald. How are you today, Teletommy?
I'm super duper well. Thank you very much. Things are going great.
Oh, that's good. Things are going great. We like hearing that. And also at this We Now Know Better podcast table is Mr. Know-It-All himself, the global property management mogul, David van der Zalm. Hey, David.
I like the sound of that.
Are you related, you guys? I'm just curious.
Unfortunately.
Genetically, there is a lineage link there, but not as close as you'd think, Tom. We'll get into that in my extinction discussion. One of us should be extinct. The other, I keep trucking on.
I agree.
Brother, sister, but who's the sister? Which one's the sister?
well, obviously. It's obvious. Have a look at him.
Watch it now. Watch your pronoun.
Oh, yeah, right. Sorry. I'm always pro to the nouns, okay? So, we're going to get things going, boys, with the email bag. And I'm going to guess that, Tom, you still have no jingle.
Oh, no, there's no jingle yet. The jingler writers are on strike.
Oh, I didn't even hear about that.
Well, you might have seen them walking outside of your house. Did you see anybody?
That's who those guys are.
That was that.
Are they government employees? Do they work for the government? Is that what you're saying?
They're associated with the government in some form or fashion.
Could be. All right. Well, this email question for you two comes from Daryl O. of Brampton, Ontario. And Daryl asks, I would love your guys' opinion because me and some friends seem to disagree on the Ontario government's move. Do you guys think that Doug Ford's U.S. ad campaign was a bold strategic move to defend Ontario's economic interest, or did it just poke the bear and risk souring relations with our biggest trading partner? Well, thanks, Daryl. A good question. Let's see what our pod guys, what their opinion is. So just to refresh everyone and make everyone aware of what happened, Ontario Premier Doug Ford launched this bold television ad campaign in the United States. It was kind of aimed at challenging American tariffs and reigniting the spirit of free trade by speaking directly with the American people. The ad featured none other than President Ronald Reagan in an old public address he gave a lot of years ago. And these ads aired during primetime World Series games. Unfortunately, or maybe better put, stupidly, the 1-minute Ronald Reagan clip of the 3-minute total clip was what you could call taken a bit out of context. So the fallout was fast and furious. President Trump slammed the campaign and slammed this ad campaign, and trade talks froze. And critics back home called this $75 million they called it a $75 million misfire. So Daryl of Brampton, interestingly, Dave, Tom, and I chatted about this offline a couple of days ago. Tom and I felt it to be a pretty dumbass move on Ford's part, but Dave, you were kind of in favor of it, and right from the get-go. So maybe, I don't know, maybe your things have changed, but maybe explain to Daryl why you thought this was a good plan of attack amongst ongoing fragile trade talks.
Well, I don't know if I thought it was such a good strategy.
Oh yes, you did.
Oh yeah, we have the thread.
No, if you look at what my comments were, I had different strategies than that. You know, with anybody else other than Mr. Trump, I think that this is fair game. I mean, what is he other than putting forward a positive statement for a joint economic future? So in that regard, I didn't think it was so terrible. And with respect to the Ronald Reagan references, yes, they were clipped, but it really didn't change the gist of what Ronald Reagan said and what he was about. Ronald Reagan was a free trader, and he's always been. He was actually very much in favor of the integration of the Canadian and American economies into a more of an economic union that could be held as an example for the rest of the world. So I don't have a lot of problem with the objective. They just didn't know who they were dealing with and how it would be handled. It's one thing for Mr. Trump to get on Truth Social and fire policy directives without his administrators or his chiefs of various departments knowing about it. But he attacks enemies, and it's not what I'd say is unusual behavior from Mr. Trump. But I find it a little odd that he is so off-put by a large economy voicing concern and optimism that the two economies can work together. It backfired. I don't think you can really argue against it backfiring. I just thought it was a little over the top in terms of reaction by the president.
Yeah, you and I can agree on that point. Absolutely. Trump must have seen it on the World Series broadcast, as I'm assuming. I have a couple of questions and I had some comments. Maybe I'll do the comments first. The Reagan radio address, which was recorded on video as well, and you can find it on YouTube, was actually about 5 or 6 minutes long. It wasn't 3 minutes long. And they did take him out of context because they left out some very important contextual conversation that Reagan had on there. He said on there that tariffs generally don't work long term, but they can be effective short term, and that's well known. There's a body of evidence that proves that tariffs can work short term. And Trump has been in office all of what, 8 months, 9 months?
9 months.
So short term to me, Reagan didn't define what short term meant, but I would take that to mean less than 4 years, like 4 years or less is probably short term, the term of a president. And so I don't have a problem with Reagan saying that tariffs can be effective short term because he said that, but they didn't put that in the clip. That's where I have a problem. Did the 78, he was talking about the Japanese as well with semiconductors.
Yes.
Is what he was talking about.
No, it was the auto industry. Or are you talking Trump?
I was talking Reagan. It was the semiconductor industry in Japan that was charging a tariff on American semiconductors going into Japan because Japan wanted to protect their industry, their semiconductor industry. And that's where he was going. So it was kind of flipped around a little bit as well. So they twisted it a little bit to try to fit their narrative.
Yep.
But I think it backfired anyway, because I'm not even sure an American watching a World Series game would know what or where Ontario is or what Ontario stands for, other than maybe the racetrack in California. And they watch that ad. I'm not sure what they would even know what it means. They go, oh, there's an ad with Reagan. I thought he was dead. I mean, that's about all they're going to take away from it. And then it just pissed Trump off. And then he decided to go for the extra 10% tariffs. You guys heard about that, right? The 10% tariffs we levied on top of the other tariffs, which is
It's horrible.
It's odd.
Okay, so there is, and I made a point to you in our chat specifically to that, is the president never historically had the power to levy tariffs. It was granted to the executive for extraordinary circumstances, being national threats.
Unless it's a national threat, yeah.
Okay, so the pretext is there's some sort of national threat that has to be addressed, and that a tariff is a way to punish the offending actor. Well, you tell me how that ad is putting the United States in any sort of imminent peril. And to pull a 10% rabbit out of a hat seems a little arbitrary to me, and I think a little indefensible. It is more about being vindictive than any kind of reason for applying a 10%. I mean,
No,
it should not even stand on the reason it was implemented.
I think he was doing the 10% just to get in the news. That's his modus operandi.
I think
that's how he does it.
Yeah, the 10% is not the rationale for the original tariffs. He's just adding to why he implemented tariffs, and because it was a national emergency with the fentanyl crisis and the immigration crisis, and so he implemented these tariffs. This 10% is just adding to those, so it's not.
So his feelings were
not really something separate,
and he adds 10%. That's what it is. Like, you made me mad personally. I don't like the way you're handling this. 10% more.
I don't like your negotiating skills.
Yeah, like
God, hopefully you won't fly the American flag upside down. On the
we have a
national
cruiser that we can park off the course. But it's ridiculous.
Yeah, that is. I like his policies. I really do. But I just, because the 5 pillars of Make America Great Again they stand for like make America strong, defensive wise, close the borders, make Americans healthy again, and onshore manufacturing. Those are all really solid policies. But the way he goes about it is odd at best.
Well, you touched upon it a little bit in your comments, that in the short term, tariffs have a positive effect, in that the result is what whatever previous government wanted. But unfortunately, it makes for a very lazy, sloppy, uncompetitive industry. Not 5 years down the road.
Over time. Yeah.
10
but
years,
okay
20 years. And then you get crony capitalism and all of the
we do.
But Dave,
we're not there yet. This is not that.
No, but it's early days.
We've been here for 10 months.
You're just sowing the seeds of what will be a future of, you protect any industry to that degree, and you're going to have other countries who are competing are going to produce better products
over time,
more efficiently. Yes, over time.
But the two reasons you want tariffs are to protect an industry that you think is important to the national defense. You're not going to protect the T-shirt industry from Indonesia. He's not going to do that. And then the second thing is to build or create a fledgling or a new industry, perhaps in technology, where we don't have a foothold, but it will take a few years to get one, and therefore you create a higher cost to import, so that these industries can get a chance to grow. And then I guess the tariff revenue that he makes, which is in the billions now, he can he can direct into those industries to help them become even stronger. I like that concept. That makes sense. I wish Canada could do that on some of its.
Well, and don't forget, there's also the idea that, you know, China has targeted sectors of the economy where they're going to be dominant, and they've unfairly subsidized industries with favorable loans and created a market that is
100%.
Uncompetitive. So there you have a situation where tariffs are a good thing, where it's a defensible position.
Yeah.
Where you have an existing industry that will be bankrupt if you don't put tariffs in place.
Look at the steel industry. It's been gutted in America, and putting a lot of steel workers in Ohio, Pennsylvania, on and on, thrown out of work until Biden told them that they had to code. And then they had a solution again to going back to work again. They just didn't know what coding meant.
Well, I think personally, I think it was a blunder. It's cost every Canadian, Doug Ford, you cost every Canadian in money. To what extent, who knows? But you've cost every Canadian. And the stupidity behind that decision, in my opinion, and then Elizabeth May confirming it was a great idea, and Panu Wab in Winnipeg or Manitoba, again, saying that all Canadians are behind this. No, I was the furthest thing from that. But anyway, I think a blunder. I guess
definitely a blunder.
Yeah, and Dave, you didn't call it accurately at the beginning, but we don't expect a lot from you. But anyways, we will move forward. Daryl, we will see. Daryl, thank you for the question.
The low bar of soft expectations for Dave. That's what it is.
Yeah. You just wait.
Well, speaking of Dave, okay.
Here we go.
Exciting stuff. Imagine spotting a woolly mammoth in the wild, or hearing the cry of a pterodactyl, or the call of a passenger pigeon overhead. Well, thanks to breakthroughs in cloning, genetics, engineering, and selective breeding, scientists are inching closer to making that science fiction a reality. But reviving extinct species isn't just a technical challenge, it's an ethical minefield. Should we bring back animals that vanished decades or millennia ago? What happens when they re-enter ecosystems that have moved on without them? Well, let's find out. Dave is going to help us navigate this cutting-edge science and the moral question that comes with rewriting nature's journey thus far. Dave, take us on a dinosaur ride.
Well, you got two of the first three examples as being plausible. The dinosaur is almost impossible. So that's the pterodactyl isn't coming back anytime soon. And that wouldn't involve cloning. That would be actual genetic engineering, because there is no viable nucleus that you can find for a pterodactyl or a Tyrannosaurus rex that you can implant into a host. And what host would you implant that into? What bird would be big enough to lay a pterodactyl egg?
Ooh, a penguin?
Crows are smart, and crows are very adaptable.
Maybe an ostrich. Maybe an ostrich.
We have some ostriches. We have some ostriches that are just waiting to die. So let's put.
So I was reading an article in the National Post. It was on October 20th by a guy named Dino Grandoni, and the gist of the article was there's a group called the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, and they're proposing a moratorium on releasing genetically engineered plants or animals back into the wild. Advocates for the ban warn that engineered organisms could upend the nature and have uncontainable and irreversible consequences, and that conservation really should be what we're prioritizing before we release modified creatures back into nature. But the group, however, does emphasize that it's a pause that they're suggesting, not a ban on research. And the opponents of the ban are groups such as Revive and Restore, and that's a nonprofit wildlife conservation organization, and a company called Colossal. And this company, along with the group, argue that synthetic biology offers a great potential to save to enhance nature and to save species that are on the brink, and that a moratorium would have a chilling effect on not only investment but on public support for such initiatives. Colossal, by the way, has gained notoriety quite recently for the fact that they have genetically edited the cells for the gray wolf to resemble the characteristics of a long extinct, well, not long extinct, an extinct wolf known as the dire wolf. And 3 pups have been born by a surrogate gray wolf, and they have been engineered, so to speak, to have the characteristics of this extinct wolf. It should be noted that when we're talking about de-extinction, particularly when it's genetic engineering, there is no such thing as bringing back the original. All you're doing is mimicking to the closest that you can the genetic profile of the extinct species. So you're guessing, and you're inserting, you're looking at the sequencing and finding out where you can make modifications to the current host animal to more closely resemble the extinct animal. So that is reality. You're never going to get an actual extinct species unless you had access to an actual cell with the nucleus of the cell and all its DNA inherent in it.
So
it's all.
Can you clone? I thought they cloned oh, that's different. That's cloning is
that's different. Cloning is one of the options, one of the methods that I'll get into for de-extincting a species. It's also well worth remembering that 99.9% of all the species that have ever lived have gone extinct. So the vast majority of living organisms are no longer alive.
So you're saying the odds for humanity aren't too great?
Probably not too great even in the short term.
So it's probably a good thing you mowed your lawn today, then, because.
Well, how bad is Putin? Is Putin angry at us? Is he rattling some change?
I don't know. Dropping lawnmowers on us.
There's always been a certain level of background extinction that goes on as a regular course of events. Organisms that can't adapt to even mildly changing environments or are outcompeted by another species for a resource. That happens. That's to be expected, and that goes on. There have been, however, 5 distinct so-called mass extinction events. The first one being about 444 million years ago, called the End Ordovician, I can pronounce it, extinction. Yeah, really. It's a tough one. 85% of all shallow marine species died due to a global cooling in this instance. And 444 million years ago, most of the species that were alive were in the oceans. Not very many were on land at that point. The next one was the late Denovian extinction, and that was 372 million years ago, when 70-80% of all marine life went extinct.
Gosh, that seems like just yesterday.
Yeah, well, this one's even closer. The end Permian extinction was 250 million years ago, and it was dubbed the Great Dying because 96% of all marine life and 70% of all terrestrial vertebrates died. And this was caused, this is very interesting, by volcanic activity in what was known as the Siberian Traps. And this was the plains in Siberia, and lasted for approximately 2 million years.
Holy shit.
It was a volcanic region the size of Australia on the upper limits of what they think the size of that area was. So it was amazing, and it obviously caused catastrophic climate change, which led to, and most of the massive die-offs do result from climate change. Most of the organisms that are most negatively affected are the larger animals. The larger the species, the less adaptable they are. The smaller the species, they can endure much better than larger species. And then the one that we're getting closer to, the ones we're more familiar with, when there's much more in the way of land terrestrial animals, was the Triassic and Jurassic extinction, and that was 200 million years ago, and that was due to again, volcanic activity. They're not really sure if it caused global cooling or global warming, but it was global temperature change that led to the extinctions. In the ocean, it's often acidification and deoxygenation of the ocean itself that leads to the die-offs. And the last massive extinction event was the Cretaceous Paleogene extinction, which was 66 million years ago. And that was the one that ended the reign of the dinosaurs and all the large marine reptiles. By the way, the Triassic and Jurassic extinction opened the door for the dinosaurs to become the dominant species over what was then a world dominated by amphibian species. But 66 million years ago, the party came to an end for the dinosaurs. And that was due to what we should all know is a massive asteroid impact off the coast of Mexico.
Yes, and it's a fairly small crater too. It's not that whole Gulf of America area. It's like a small crater within.
Well, there's some conjecture on that impact itself, and that had that have just missed by hundreds of miles, the event would never have been to the damaging to the degree it was, because it would have hit into deep ocean. But because it hit into shallow water, the impact was much more significant.
It was like right on the coastline almost, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was super, super shallow ocean that it hit into, and that was part of the problem for the damages that occurred afterwards. Scientists believe that we are now entering the sixth, or have entered the sixth mass extinction event, and this time it's not caused by natural events, either volcanism or asteroids from outer space. This is human caused, and it relates directly to humanity's impact on habitat degradation, pollution, exploitation of natural resources, and all our activities which cause human-induced climate change are all the factors that are now implicated in what they're thinking is the sixth major extinction event. So there's an example of times where most of the living organisms, not the sixth one which we're in now, have perished. So the Earth has gone through many cycles of near extinction to recover. Now, when we get back to what
that's good news then. So we're going to be fine.
we'll be fine until the Earth overheats as the sun gradually enlarges. And everyone likes to think that is, it's 2.4 billion years in the future. No,
A long time.
they're saying it's only 100 million years before the Earth is uninhabitable. It's not. It's 4 billion years till the sun swallows the Earth. At that point, it's really over.
Oh, that's a good point. Yes. I actually didn't put that together. You're right.
Yeah. So now we get to the point where we're talking about animals, and I'll touch on plants, but animals are more fun, that are deemed candidates for de-extinction. And notably, it's animals that have gone extinct in the recent past. And the one that's probably the furthest in the past is the woolly mammoth, but it's still fairly recent in that.
Hey, Dave, before you get onto this, you're going to describe who's going to get extinct in the 6th extinction. Is that what you're about to do?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Are you
Wrong
following me
topic.
along?
I'm trying to.
Oh, sorry. Have you been talking?
I thought you were talking about the 5 extinctions that happened.
No, we've moved on, Tom.
I took the
And we're
time
going to have
for
number 6.
yeah.
It's very, very close.
Turn the fireplace off behind you. I think you're going to fall asleep.
I
It
can
is
see
getting
my
warmer.
eyes.
I've noticed it's been getting warmer in this room. So
So what we're
believe you.
talking about now are, I'm going to give you 5 animals that are candidates for de-extinction. One being woolly mammoth. That's kind of a sexy one.
Make it 4 because we're running out of time.
And we have the passenger pigeon. You touched on it. Another one. Are you familiar with the Tasmanian tiger?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
I think it was actually a type of marsupial. And the dodo bird, everyone knows the dodo bird, and a wild ancestor of the domestic cattle that went extinct in the 17th century. So these are all fairly recent extinction events. And then there's some plants like the Phillip Island glory pea. There's a peperomia, which sounds like something we should sell as a tropical plant whim, and short-fruited spike rush. And a couple of these are actually coastal plants that have been decimated after they've cleared marsh areas. So they're looking to reintroduce the plants back. And plants are easier because what they're working on is trying to make seeds viable again, rather than messing around with genetics, which are a little harder to do with extinct plants.
It'll be more like cloning.
Why do we want to bring back these extinct species?
Well, that gets to the ethics of it. Well, sometimes it's a moral obligation. Sometimes it's to fill in a niche in the habitat that is has been neglected. In the case of the woolly mammoth, I'm glad you brought it up, Tom. You're kind of paying attention again. Is
Gold star, Tom, gold star.
The area where they were found used to be grassy plains, and when they went extinct, they became more mossy bogs. And if they're reintroduced, they would actually transform the landscape back to grasslands, which would help to sequester carbon and also protect permafrost. So that is a species that could be argued it would be beneficial. So if we go back, if we now look at what methods are used to bring back these species, the easiest one is backbreeding. If the species has gone extinct relatively recently, you can get relatives to that animal, and you can breed them and crossbreed them to amplify those characteristics that resemble the extinct species, and they can do a pretty good job of that. Just think about what you can do with things like cats and dogs in manipulating how the animals can be.
Don't we have enough versions of dogs already?
Well, there's always more handbags that needed another little purse dog in them.
My goodness me.
Now, we mentioned cloning, and cloning is another process that's been done. We remember, was it Molly the sheep?
Yes, Molly. No, Dolly. Was it Dolly?
Or Dolly the sheep, where they
Dolly.
took the nucleus out of one cell and put it in another and regenerated it in a host a host animal. And that is, although it's complicated, it's not as complex as the last one, and that's genome editing. And that's where you have only fragments of the extinct species, and you have to build it back, do a genetic sequencing, and then inference by looking at closest relatives, how to fill in the rest. And that goes back to my previous point in that you will never get an animal that is exactly the same as the one that went extinct. It is just not possible. I'm going to finish up with some examples, because there are examples of animals and plants that have been genetically modified, and not just through crossbreeding, because that's that's pretty standard fare.
Because Dolly the sheep had 3 legs.
2 heads.
Did it actually live as long as they expected, or did it die prematurely?
Someone shot it. They thought it was a hunted animal. They had a license. I didn't know it was Dolly. Sorry.
Good point. Good evening. So here's some examples of genetically engineered plants that are or animals that are very common. The Aqua Advantage salmon, and that's the Atlantic salmon that is farm raised in pens. They want to put them on land in containers, but right now they're in pens in open oceans. And the Atlantic salmon has had the growth hormone gene from the Chinook salmon implanted in their genetic sequencing, so that they will grow faster into a larger size. And they've also had another gene from another animal inserted that has them continually growing. They don't grow through seasonal sprouts or sprouts of growth. It is continuous. So it's a full-size salmon in half the time. So that's one example that you can see on your grocery shelf. The other is mosquitoes that have had gene editing done to them and reintroduced into the wild, the males. And when they mate with the female mosquitoes, they produce offsprings. They're not viable. They die before adulthood. So there's an example.
I like that one.
That's a good one. And the last one is the Atrian goat. And this is a goat that is transgenic. It contains a human gene in it. So it contains the gene from a different species, and it's done to produce a human anticoagulant protein in their milk, and that's harvested and used by the pharmaceutical industry to prevent blood clots. So those are
and you can talk to it too, because it's got the human aspect.
That's Ed. That was the horse. Now, there's a few plants. Corn has a gene from the bacterium, a soil bacterium. Wim and I are familiar with Bacillus thuringiensis. It's used in lots of different things, whether it's spraying for gypsy moths. They'll use it for controlling grubs in the soil. In this instance, it's inserted into the corn's DNA, and it gives protection against insects, corn borers, for example.
Would that be considered genetically engineering then, I guess?
Yes, you get to the point where that is genetically engineering, but there's some genetic modifications where you take an existing, take the existing genome and you switch some things around so that you're not introducing something from outside the animal's genome. It's its own genetic structure, but it's been altered somewhat. There's activities like for one of the ways that you can have plants that are resistant to Roundup is to suppress certain genes that react to the Roundup herbicide, an enzyme that prevents Roundup from being reactive to the plant. There's the last one I'll touch on, because it's local to us, is an apple called the Arctic apple. Do you remember that one? It was a big to-do about 10 years ago, maybe even a little bit longer. It was developed in the Summerland Research Station and not the government research station. We have a rather large government research station in Summerland, but this was an independent business that they've since sold. I think they've gone to the U.S. They were acquired, but it's an apple that had its genes manipulated. Again, it did not have anything foreign introduced into it, but it had its genes manipulated. So an enzyme that causes an apple to brown when it's cut is suppressed. And you would think, what's the big deal? Like, I eat my apple pretty fast. But when you have an apple that you can cut up and put on a plate with other fruits and vegetables and it doesn't brown, that's significant for the food industry.
Okay, you know what?
That's
I got to cut you off. You are so far over your allotted time.
Gosh, is he ever?
Holy.
Well, you know what? We haven't gotten into the ethics of it yet.
Oh, God. You have no more time left. We're almost like...
Okay, what did I tell you before? I said Tom doesn't get a topic this week. That's
Sorry,
just
Tom.
the way it is.
You've talked so long, it's unethical.
You know
Sure,
what?
I agree.
I think we've kind of touched on the ethics of it. You know, to close, the ethics are you shouldn't introduce species into the current environment because it could be disruptive. The environment has changed. The other side is you should introduce them because you're righting a wrong. You're restoring habitat balance. It's a tough question to come to an easy and an answer that has general consensus.
Okay, just to close it up, then what side are you on ethically?
You know, that's a good question. I think I'm going to fall right in the middle. I think each proposed. Well, okay, if we
Way to take a stand.
Yeah,
the woolly mammoth. I could be behind the woolly mammoth. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. If it goes into a habitat where it actually restores the habitat to a better state. But, you know, when you're starting to talk about genetically altered animals that enter a very vibrant ecosystem that has lots of existing animals competing for the same resources, you could just dislocate existing species. It's tough. I don't think there's an easy way to come
Jurassic
to a
Park.
conclusion.
I see another Jurassic Park.
Isn't there 10 of them already?
You know what I did find interesting, and we got to wrap it up here. I'm not sure if it's all woolly mammoths, but a huge population were found on a 4-acre site in, I think it wouldn't have been Greenland, but somewhere north. And I would have to assume that maybe as ice age or climate change, maybe they wanted cooler temperatures, kept going north to where they got to 1 4-acre parcel, and that's where they all died.
Fell off a cliff?
No.
That was the coldest
They didn't
area.
run off a cliff like lemmings?
No, they didn't.
Just lumbering along.
So, okay.
Nope.
Okay, well, Dave,
Speaking
thank
of
you.
lumbering along.
I'm not. I'm
Okay,
not
Tom,
sure
it was nice. You get
what the
an
audience.
extra 30 seconds next week. I'm sorry.
I'm not sure what the audience is going to think, but if you've made it this far in the show, then wow, congratulations! I can't believe I'm still here.
Get
Well, but
therapy.
either-
That's what I suggest for the
Yeah,
audience.
start with therapy. Either you're thoroughly entertained or you've developed an unusual tolerance for our ramblings, or more so
Yes.
Dave's ramblings. Either way, why not make it official? Hit that like button. Share this pod with someone who could use some sensible yet chaotic talk.
I can
Or
kick
better
back
yet,
now. I could just relax.
You could go
Or better
on
yet,
and on.
subscribe. Not only does it help spread somewhat balanced information to the masses, but it also grants you unlimited access to our glorious attempts at making sense of this crazy world. So we will now continue on. Okay, Sugar.
What are
I'm
we
not
doing
talking.
anyway?
I'm not
Oh, hey,
talking
wait.
to you, Tom.
Well, let me ask, how much time do we have? Because maybe we need to sweeten the pot for the next podcast. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, okay. You know what? We might have to because we will be.
How long can sugar take? It's sugar. Sugar saccharin. One's natural,
Okay.
one isn't. Move on.
Well, if you want to make it an hour and a half podcast, then that's what it's going to be if we do all of it.
Well,
You could, yeah, you could time me. I could rip through it pretty quick, or I could save it.
What's the network going to say?
The network, well, I've negotiated to have very liberal terms time-wise because they love what we do. So they don't argue. Whenever we demand something, they pretty much agree. So that's what being popular does. Very helpful in negotiations.
That's true. There are no blue Smarties in my little candy bowl. I don't want to take them all out, and they did. They complied. It was amazing.
Wow, impressive.
Yeah.
Okay, Tom can start because I'm going to check the score in the hockey game here.
Oh, jeez. Okay, sugar. It's sweet. Sugar. It's seductive, and it's lurking in about everything from your morning cereal to your so-called healthy salad dressing. But beneath that innocent sparkle lies a growing body of research linking excess sugar to obesity, heart disease, diabetes, and even addiction-like behavior. So is sugar just a harmless treat or a slow-moving health hazard? Today, Tom, that's you. You're going to dive into the science, the sneaky way sugar shows up in our diets, and whether it seems it's time to break up with our sweet tooth habit before it breaks us. Tom, don't sugarcoat this. Lay it on us like a healthy sprinkled glazed donut.
Oh yeah, well, that's what I'll do. I'll put a timer on so I can get through this and not like Dave who goes on and on.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, but it was captivating. He talked about ballet, I believe. It was about
I don't recall.
It was animals. I think it had to do with animal crackers. Where does sugar come from and how is it refined? Okay, so that's the first thing we'll get into. So do you guys know where sugar comes from? I would assume there's two major sources, sugarcane and beets. So sugarcane is crushed, the juices are clarified, concentrated with the vaporization and crystallized and melted and filtered and recrystallized to white sugar, the thing that you see on your table. And sugar beets, kind of somewhat the same. They have sucrose as well. So sugar, essentially, the chemical is sucrose, and sucrose is determined to be sweet by our taste buds. We can detect sweetness with sucrose and other things as well. How did we get sweet on sugar? Like, when did this all start? Did we always love sugar? Well, apparently we always had the proclivity to be addicted to sugar, but it was first domesticated in New Guinea thousands of years ago and emerged in India about 1500 to 2000 years ago, spread through the Islamic world into medieval Europe with the colonizations. Cane plantations exploded across the Caribbean and Brazil, and entwined with slavery and indentured labor. By 1800, sugar had become a dietary necessity in England. Get this, in 1704, the average capacity or intake was 4 pounds a year in 1700 in England. Guess what it was by 1900?
Ooh.
It was 90 pounds. So
90?
90 in 200 years.
Per person.
Per person. Yes, 90 pounds. That's almost eating pure sugar. Today, cane still dominates global output. 2 billion tons of sugar cane versus 281 million tons of sugar beets. So there's it's mostly that is what it is. And then the things that can kill you. Let's get into that, because coming with white sugar is the ability to be diseased, because unfortunately, if you take too much of a good thing, you know that, Wim, too much of a good thing is not a good thing. And
Scotch. So you're excluding Scotch, right?
Wine, Scotch, anything like that. Of course, they even have sugars in them. Of course, that's interesting. Almost everything does. You go to your local Starbucks and you order, like the kids, teenage kids coming out of their schools, the middle schools and grade schools, they almost should have an identity card to buy sugary foods like that, because it is ridiculous.
I think they should have a warning sticker on those things.
They should. They have like 65 grams or more of sugar in those drinks, in those sugary drinks. It's incredible.
65 grams, Tom. I think that is what 65. Is that, like 12 and a half teaspoons?
Yeah, probably 14 to 16.
Yeah, it was over 3 tablespoons.
Yeah,
so 10. Let's say about 10.
No, it's even higher than that for sure.
What about going to Tim Hortons and ordering a double? double sugar, double cream.
Double sugar. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, cream can convert to sucrose as well, but the sugar is the direct hit. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I use sucralose, which is Splenda. That's what I use. I don't use any added sugar if I can avoid it. So the top killers in North America, quickly, guys, because we don't have a lot of time. Name the first killer in North America and probably Europe, Western Europe.
As far as
cardiovascular disease,
yeah,
heart
and stroke.
Second one is cancers.
Cancer.
Third one is chronic respiratory diseases, and the fourth one is type 2 diabetes, and then the fifth is liver disease, kidney disease, dementia, which is rising fast. And out of those top four, sugar plays a role in at least three of them. So heart disease, we figured, we know about that. We know about diabetes. I'm not going to get into how that happens. Obesity is another one. It's calorie dense. It's non-satiated. Matter of fact, you get hungry after eating sugar, and it's also addictive. And it promotes fat storage, fatty liver and cirrhosis. Again, another thing. Cognitive decline. So that's interesting. Alzheimer's and dementia are on the rise. High sugar diets accelerate cognitive aging, may contribute to Alzheimer's, and sometimes referred to now as type 3 diabetes, believe it or not. So
really?
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
I'd like to know more about that in a future podcast, Tom.
Yeah, sugar fuels oxidization and stress and inflammation that damages the brain cells. Cancer links. Sugar doesn't cause cancer directly, but it can feed because cancer cells rely heavily on glucose. It's called the Warburg effect. High insulin levels promote cell growth and tumor progressions as well. And if you're taking in sugar, you're not being healthy. We don't have to get into dental disease. We know that dental caries can be caused by sugar and inadequate brushing of your teeth. And it's $1 billion a year cost. The couple of other things I'll go into really quick here. You're probably wondering, let me see if I can broadcast this to you guys. I'll get into it in just a second here. We're 6 minutes in, so that's not bad. Share a screen.
Maybe Dave needs to learn how to set a timer too.
He does.
No, I think we set a new schedule. Like I get 20 minutes, Tom gets 10.
That makes sense. Can you see these ones? If you look at the center one,
yeah.
I don't know. Is it big enough?
Yep.
Sugar lobby. Okay, so I thought, okay, why are we having so much sugar? Because everybody promotes sugar, and it turns out that sugar represents 2% of the total value of U.S. crop production, but 35% of the total campaign contributions come from the sugar lobby. It's definitely a major.
Well, they're like they're the U.S. version of our dairy lobby.
Times 10. And there's your pricing. If you look, the raw sugar price in USA is higher than it is in the world. And so another testament to the sugar lobby, how good a job it's doing. If we look at sugar consumption per capita, can you guys see? Oh, no, here we go. Let me switch it to this one. Yeah. Sugar capita consumption per year in pounds per capita per year. So we're up. Who is it? This is USDA total is right around here somewhere. We've dropped down. We're a paltry 78 pounds per year of sugar intake per person.
Well, and what am I? Oh, actually, that's historical data. I was saying, like in the 1920 to 1960-ish, 70, it was pretty flat. It actually went down, right? And then it spiked up, and it's also it's dropped. So what's the explanation for? Is it health consciousness now that is causing it to come the curve?
Yeah, what's happening now is this education, just like there is education in alcohol consumption, where they're saying 0 drinks per week is the healthiest. 1 drink is not even good for you. Wim, take that as a cautionary tale there. But if you look back to sugar,
shot over the bow,
over 80 pounds. Well, you keep the wine industry in southern Ontario keep going all on your own, which is fantastic. Thank you for your contribution.
I do my part.
You do your part. And so we're consuming like 70, 80 pounds of sugar a year, and it is dropping off, as you can see, and that's because of education for the most part. People People are dying for sugar, is literally what's happening. So we've got to find a way to stop that from happening. Let's see, ultra processed foods. We didn't get into that too much, but if we did talk about ultra processed foods, I'll just stop sharing for a minute so that we can get back to these lovely faces we have to deal with. Oh, that's not too bad. You can actually see the charts and the faces. That's not bad at all. Stop sharing that.
I saw a girl just as. Oh, sorry. Well, I saw a girl just as this. I thought you were sort of aligning something there. Saw a girl the other day, and she had a Tim Hortons sugary drink, whatever they are. I don't know what they call them. Never had them, and a box of Timbits. And she was a relatively large girl. How do you convince people? How do you tell people, train people that you're killing yourself, and you're killing yourself not only with the sugar, but when you're talking obesity now, you're killing yourself in many other ways, and to where your body is not going to be able to kind of hold itself upright, and you'll end up in a wheelchair and die young, like it is.
Oh yeah, it's killing, and it's costing the medical system billions of dollars a year to treat sugar-related illnesses, billions of dollars that we would save if we weren't so addicted to sugar, and the multi-billion-dollar sugar lobby that keeps giving us that sugar high, that sugar hit. You might ask yourself, is there something else we can do? Like, can we go sugar-free? And the question is, we're probably not going to be able to do that. The answer, because biologically we're wired to like sweet, and glucose is a normal fuel. We do need glucose, and sweet stuff generally has glucose. So we can't get to zero. So what we have to do is we have to try to minimize the intake and decrease the lobbying of pure raw sugar so that it's not so easily intaked by young people. Get them off at young as opposed to getting them on at young, much like cigarettes and alcohol, and they will use it less as they become adults. You might think, well, maple syrup's probably good. Oh, honey's good. Fruit juice, that's got to be good.
That's what I was going to ask about honey. Isn't honey a good substitute?
No, it's all sugar. It's all sugar, and it's fructose, the sucrose.
Yeah, no, Wim, I don't like it. I don't like this topic anymore.
I know.
Can we move on to point process?
I know.
Well,
it's a challenge.
Now you know how we felt listening to the last topic.
I like tea with honey.
Yes. Oh, you should still have honey. I didn't say you had to stop. I just said that a lot of people have to decrease their intake of sugar tremendously. And a lot of places like Starbucks, I'm sorry if I'm picking on them, but a lot of places like them and other places that sell ultra processed foods as well, like many stores, are making profits off of making people sick. And we have to educate people to stop being sick because they're eating crap. And we have to somehow get the crap out of our stores. Did you know that the healthiest foods when you walk into a grocery store are in the four corners? You walk along the exterior wall, that's where your good stuff's going to be. Anything in the middle aisles is not the good stuff. And that's where you're going to find a lot of the sweets as well. So there you go, in 12 minutes and 40 seconds.
So Tom, I thought I heard somewhere, Wim might be aware of it also, that if you order a large, what is it called, pumpkin spice latte at Starbucks, it's half your day's caloric intake.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Drink. More than that. It's like, it's scary.
Yeah, the calories are incredible.
Yeah.
I'll give it to you in a second, but it's probably 400 calories, so it's not half. That's not half.
Okay, that's a quarter.
That's probably 25% or so.
I thought it was
yeah.
I thought there was one that was measured at just an outrageous caloric intake.
But the sugar will be quite high on something like that. And the 390 calories is virtually going to be all sugar. So it's not going to really add to nutritional value in your stomach. I mean, it's true. It's true. Your body is amazingly efficient, and it will convert that sucrose into glucose to be stored later for use if it's not consumed by your brain. Because the brain is the biggest consumer of glucose. It needs a ton of it to keep it going. The rest of it gets stored as fat.
Dave could use a lot more then.
A lot more what?
Glucose.
Brain food.
Brain food. Yeah. Yes, you could.
You got to load up a little more there, Dave. You know.
Hey, you know what?
Maybe it'll be able to help you to read
I had
a
a
timer.
thought that I was gonna express, and now I forgot. It was gonna be a good one too.
There we go.
Tom,
He just made our point.
Me up. He tripped me up. That's not
a grande Starbucks.
Oh, you know what?
Spice latte contains how many grams of sugar? Guys, take a guess quickly.
What is that?
A grande Starbucks pumpkin spice latte contains how many grams of sugar? Quick, go.
40.
Wim.
75.
No. It's 50 grams of sugar. 50 grams of sugar. So
that's a hefty amount.
Yeah, that's more.
Years ago, I cut out sugar in my coffee, and it took me a while to get rid of cream. But you're telling me that I should get rid of the honey in my tea. Oh, that's going to be tough.
Depends on how much you take. I mean, it's not
a teaspoon. Is a teaspoon bad?
You're probably fine with that. As a matter of fact, a jar of honey a day for you probably is perfectly okay.
Well, it makes it brain food, Tom.
Yep. You need it.
Yes, he does. Well,
there you go, sugar. There you go, you sweet little guys. You're all sweetened up now.
All right, so that was 12 minutes. We'll allow in the future Wim 15 minutes. I think that's enough for Tom. You know, Tom gets it done within that.
I just hit it to 15. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's good.
There are sugar substitutes, hey guys, just so you know, like stevia and sucralose and aspartame. It seems like sucralose seems to be the more popular one these days.
I didn't think we were going to get into a cancer discussion.
Yeah, there you go. You didn't know.
Well, a Starbucks mocha cookie crumble frappuccino, 480 calories in a grande.
Yeah, that's getting there.
That's unbelievable. Yeah. Okay. Well done, Tom. Thank you. Good information. Yep. Hopefully we've assisted people out there in following healthy options. But okay, listener, we here at the
sugar.
Oh, well, that's our new. I think it's our new sponsor of the show, isn't it?
Isn't it? Could be.
Yeah, I know. I believe it is.
Bill them. Send them a bill.
Yeah. See if they pay.
Was that a Pepsi or a Coke? What was that? A Pepsi
Dr. Pepper. Dr.
That was
Dr. Pepper. I got Coke Zero. That's
okay. Well, we believe here at the We Now Know Better podcast that at least I think we believe we're pretty smart. Well, okay.
Yeah.
At least one of us.
On the the longest, he's the smartest.
Whatever.
Oh yeah.
He demonstrates his genius.
Whatever the case, we do like to make predictions.
Oh, here we go.
This week's predictions, and we're gonna have to keep it short, boys. So it'll be more like statements rather than maybe discussion. But inflation, the economic party crasher, we didn't invite, but you couldn't get rid of. After years of stealing our snacks and spiking our grocery bills, it's finally calming down, or so say the experts anyway. In 2025, it's hovering near the Bank of Canada's kind of 2% rate target, which sounds great until you realize that your coffee still costs more than your first car. So is inflation really under control or just quietly plotting its next surprise? Let's see what you two think and give us your prediction on inflation rates and maybe interest rates in, say, for the new year. Tom.
I think the interest rates will probably drop a little bit more. And I don't think they're going to go up too much because there's just so massive amounts of debt out there that the nations have to support. They can't afford to pay a lot of interest on that debt. So they're going to have to keep it low, even if they have to buy it to be low. So I'd say we'll probably see another 25 to 50 basis points in the next 6 months.
Down.
A drop.
Okay. So what about the inflation rates? You're suggesting it's going to come down too then?
Well, it is low. It's right now, like I think you said, I thought it was 3.5%, but maybe I'm corrected on that. And just because the inflation rate holds at a nominal amount of 2 to 3.5%, doesn't mean that things are getting cheaper, because the cost of this soda, if I can use an American term, got jacked up, and it's not going down. So it went up in price because of a lot of inflation in the last 4 or 5 years post-COVID. And now inflation is tamed, but that doesn't mean that the price is settling back down to a previous. It's never going to go back down. At least I hope not, because that means that we're in a lot of trouble. So everything's still very expensive. I was just at the game yesterday, bought a smoked meat sandwich in honor of the Montreal Canadiens, and it was $25. So
seems a little high.
Up there, I think $12 it's $20 for a beer, a 16-ounce beer.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's Canadian dollars.
Yeah,
that's Canadian dollars, right?
It's not going to drop.
Canadian dollars. You were at a Canadian game, right?
Yes, I was a Canadian game in Vancouver, BC. That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So inflation, you're assuming, is going to stay around the same?
I think it's going to stay very close to the same. Yeah.
Okay. Dave, your thoughts?
Okay, well, I think inflation came in at around 3%. So that's 50% higher than the Bank of Canada's target 2%.
Yeah,
3% that 3% doesn't sound like that much more, but it's a 50% miss. So I think that is indicative. I think that we're going to see the tariff regime have an impact on prices. So I think that we're going to see some pressure upwards. The consumer may pull back. My prediction would be inflation is going to not be at the 2% range. It's going to be more at the 3%. And I think that interest rates will be flat for this year and rise subsequently.
There we go. Are you writing this down? Because it'll be interesting to see where we lie.
Yeah, I'm writing it down.
Well, no need. I'll tell you. I've locked it up here. Don't worry.
Oh yeah.
Let us know who won and who
We've already determined that you need a lot more honey.
Oh man. Yes.
Okay. So sorry, Dave. You said interest rates flat in the new year.
Flat for for the remainder of this year. I'm going to say flat for the first 2 quarters into 2026, and then they could rise. And inflation is going to be higher than the 2% targeted.
Okay, I agree with you on the inflation. I think it will be around 3%, and it will not. It'll be a struggle for the Bank of Canada to make decisions on what to do about interest rates, because they want to lower interest rates, but they can't if this persnickety inflation is going to sort of linger at a higher level, like 3% or higher. So I'm going to say 3% or higher. So I will win if I don't go over. Right? That's the way to.
Yeah, it says. Well, you're the judge, jury, and executioner. Apparently,
I am when it comes to that.
You had Tom winning last week.
Well, he fills out his golf. He fills out his golf scorecard before he starts the round. So you tell me.
It's easier that way.
Well,
I always end up. Every time I do that, I've shot a great game.
Yeah,
it's a Vanderzalm trait.
It is.
I do the same thing. Hey, I got a question for you two. Do you know what constitutes the basket of goods when they're determining an inflation? The products that go into it?
Products.
Yeah.
Apparently, energy and housing doesn't come into it.
Well, I find
they're
it
separate. I believe, yeah.
So even if you're saying 2%, 3% inflation off of something that's already inflated high, but I was at the car dealership the other day and I couldn't believe the price of a new vehicle. I had my truck being serviced and there was a new Ford Explorer, it was nice. $125,000 sticker price on it.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I think, okay, Now that, if I go back 6 years, was a lot less. There was no.
Yeah.
There's something in the way they calculate that. Yeah, sure.
Well, is that tariffs now, Dave?
I don't know if that's tariffs. They must be working through existing inventory. Like, you've got to be getting into the stuff that has the tariff. We are still under the U.S., Mexico, Canada trade arrangement, so most of the vehicle parts should be good. But the steel and aluminum components are, what's that, 25% or 50% tariff, Tom? I think it's 25%, isn't it? On the, yeah. Well, how can that not add a hefty amount to the equation?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's gone up.
Okay, well, thank you, boys, for your predictions. I put my interest rate prediction to be flat for the first 6 months of 2026 as well. So Dave and I are kind of on the same page on that. Tom, you're a little off from what our thoughts are, but we have it written in writing right here.
So you'll lose, Tom.
25
high water.
basis points in the next 6 months is what I think predicted.
We'll rationalize it.
Because I have it here in writing, I'll make sure I change it to what it actually is when the time comes, so that I win this. Makes it much easier way to play the game.
Don't convert it. Don't convert it to a PDF yet.
Well, boys and girls, it's the time of the show for point counterpoint. It's a nice, fun, and not too intense way to end the show, although it hasn't been too intense today overall, I would say. But basically, it's it's a verbal showdown between Dave and Tom, and the rules are simple. I hand them a topic, one that they have no prior knowledge of, and assign them a stance. Like it or not, they must fiercely defend their given side, putting their debate skills to the test. Their mission: argue with passion, conviction, and just the right amount of theatrical outrage at times, where necessary, all in the pursuit of the coveted prize. There's no actual prize.
There's no prize. We've been duped.
No prize.
Yeah,
there's no prize. You guys get sucked into it every time.
Every time.
All right. Are you ready for the topic, you two?
No.
We are.
Didn't sound like really enthusiastic over there.
No, we are. We're ready. We're ready to do
It's been
battle.
pretty lame the last couple times, but okay, give it to us. We want to know.
Okay. It's a magical time of year again when we all collectively forget how clocks work, and we spend a week wondering why we're so tired. That's right. It's daylight savings soon, November 2nd to be precise. Debates in our community seem to swell as daylight savings approaches. Some say it's a brilliant way to chase the sun. Others say it's a cruel trick played by time itself. So today, we're throwing it into the ring. Two hosts, one time twisting topic, then zero guarantees that anyone really knows what hour it is anyway. Let the daylight debate begin. Tom, you're always an hour late anyway for anything. So you probably dislike daylight savings. So I'd like you to argue against the moving of the clock 1 hour twice a year. So you're going to go against it. Dave, you don't even know how to turn your oven on, let alone changing the time on the clock. But you do enjoy the benefits of daylight savings, whatever they might be. Maybe you can fill us in. You're going to argue in favor of keeping daylight savings and switching the clock twice a year. And Dave, we're going to be starting with you.
Okay, well, personally, I like daylight saving time. I think everyone I've talked to likes daylight saving time. If they were given the choice, they would say, let's keep daylight saving time. I don't think very many people want to go and stay on standard time. For whatever reason, I more than anything, I'd like to have one time and stick to it. But in this case, if I was to argue for keeping it, I would say, yeah, I would rather keep daylight saving time. I like the extra hour of sunlight in the evening. Most people are far more active in the evening. Most activities related to school sports or team events take place after school in the evenings. Always better to have a little bit of more daylight. I'd trade off a little darkness in the morning for more daylight in the afternoon. And it's actually statistically proven that it decreases the amount of crime. There's more public safety when there's longer daylight hours in the evening. Crime rates actually go down. So that is a benefit. I don't think we need to, particularly where we live, make it any more easy for criminals to go about and do their business. And there are economic benefits for having daylight saving time. People are out and about more. They eat out in restaurants in the evening. They'll be visiting venues that are open longer to take advantage of the daylight that is around. So I think you can look at it both from a safety perspective, you can look at it from a business perspective, and from a pure leisure perspective, that the longer hours of daylight in the evening, particularly when we get into the time of year where we have only 8 hours of daylight during the day, is better.
What do you say to those people who say, well, it's hard. It's hard to sort of adjust to the time, and it's hard to to organize my life around changing an hour twice a year.
Well, exactly. So just do it once. You'll only have the adjustment once in the future, and we'll stay with it permanently. You're in Arizona. They're permanently on. Are they on standard time?
They don't change. There's no change.
Yeah. And look, people are all happy in Arizona. They're happier people.
Well, I'm happier. I'm happier than being where you are right now in the rain. So, okay, Tom. You know what? We need to. He did a pretty convincing job of why we should keep daylight savings. So, but you think no?
Well, I mean, he just scored himself on his own petard there, just when he said, yeah, we should keep it just like Arizona. It doesn't change in Arizona. Well, exactly. That's my point.
They're happier.
Keep it daylight saving time all the time.
Well, I would be good for that. Move it ahead 1 hour and lock it in. I'm good with that. But you know what? You're giving the criminals an easy out, saying that they get to stay up late and shop without paying later in the day. Just make them get up earlier. So as far as I'm concerned, criminals should start the day a hell of a lot earlier. It's healthier anyway for them. They'll get a jump on the day and they'll feel good about themselves at the end of the day. They'll come home with their loot fairly early. Hi, honey, I'm home. What'd you get? Oh, some jewelry, counterfeit coins.
I went to the Louvre.
Yeah. What's that cherry picker doing in our driveway?
Moving a piano, don't worry.
Don't need another piano. That's okay. I'm selling it. It'll be, the guy's coming over pretty soon. Guido will be here soon. Yeah, no, the other thing, the reason we want to get rid of daylight is because in the good old days, Dave, back when you were a young fellow in the 1800s, we didn't have electrification. And so the farmers had to do all of their harvesting under the natural sunlight. So some genius in the government decided, well, just make sunlight a little bit later in the day and they'll be able to harvest later. I don't know if they really realized at the time that it's still the same amount of sunlight. It's just shifted a little bit. Somebody probably figured that out and go, well, wait a minute now. We've lost the hour in the morning. Oh, my goodness.
It's a terrible sleight of hand.
But what saved them from that stupid error of going, oh, my goodness, just really moving, is that electrification came along. All of a sudden, the harvesting combines and harvesters all had giant electric spotlights. They could light up all the wheat germ. And so they could harvest 24/7, and they do. They don't care anymore about daylight savings, Dave. They harvest whenever they want. The fish even don't care. They're quite happy the way they are in the fish farms. They don't need light. People are healthier without daylight savings. It's statistically proven. I don't know about your crazy criminal thing, but people die. with daylight savings time. It's a killer, because what happens is heart attacks happen. There's a bump in heart attacks every time people have to get up an hour earlier. But you know how hard it is to get up an hour earlier? It practically gives me a heart attack. The hospitals get jammed with people oh my gosh, November the 3rd, or here we go, the emergency room's going to be filled with people having heart attacks.
You don't really need MAID, Tom. We'll just switch the daylight and daylight saving every month.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you can't survive,
it'll take the pressures off the pressure off the hospitals, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can make
other than the morgue. The morgue might have a little bit.
Your initial topic of going extinct, it could happen to the human race, because we can't even handle daylight savings time without dying. So what's gonna happen to this race anyway? So I would say that we need to get rid of daylight saving time, save more people so that they can stay alive longer. The criminals can get up earlier, so it's going to make them feel more productive in their day. And it's just less complicated.
I hate to say, I think we've fallen into arguing each other's points. You want to keep it. I'm the one that's keeping it.
No, I'm saying you.
No. You're keeping it.
Yeah,
you have to get rid of it.
He ended on my. Thank you very much, Tom. Good points.
You know how hard it is to try to trade stocks when the daylight savings times kicks in. All of a sudden, you're there trying to buy Chevron, and you can't because the market's low.
I won. I'm the winner.
Okay.
Come on.
So I have one question for Tom. Isn't there a reasoning for saving electricity as well, because the people don't get up as early where there is no light, so they have to put all the lights on or something along that lines. I'm just guessing, but I heard
it's very confusing. Scientists haven't actually figured it out yet, Wim. So it's a good point that you don't quite understand how that works. I can't even explain it. It's not explainable.
Okay.
I understand how it works. Well,
all right.
I understand.
So, yeah.
It actually is a net negative. Lights to light a house now is minuscule to what it once cost.
Absolutely.
Costs very little. So it's not the biggest component in electricity use. So at one time it was true, and now it isn't.
Yeah, and it hasn't been for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that is too hard, so it's a draw. You both.
Did we miss any salient points that we should have mentioned?
Where's my sister? I have to kiss her.
It costs money to change all those clocks around. I mean, you see that clock behind me? Right
It's
up there?
blinking. It's blinking.
Yes, it hasn't changed at all because it's just too hard to change all my manual clocks twice a year.
We have a Sony. I think the Sony is like 20-something years old, and it often sits with irregular time for half the year, because when you have an outage and it needs to be reset, you have to go through the year, the month, the day, and it's not just hitting the hour buttons. It's a misery. So I'm all for it. Keep it at daylight saving time all the time.
All the time.
Tom will be happy. Wim will be happy. I'll be happy. Yep.
Cheaper.
All right. Well, thank you all for being here. Why you stayed till the end is actually beyond me. You should have.
Make me. You're telling me I had to stay here to the end. Oh, you're talking about the audience.
Yeah, the audience. Sorry, you have no choice. Yeah. So, but you know what? Do us a favor anyway. Just hit that like button and share this with a friend or somebody you know. And really, if you could subscribe, that's the best. But that helps the show evolve, maybe to something good eventually. Even who knows?
We should have
they can break the podcast in an hour and a half, 2 good 45-minute listens. I like that.
They could do that, or they could put it on 2.0 and listen to it much faster.
True, but then you know what? You have to absorb all the knowledge. You're not listening to Ben. You listen to someone like Ben Shapiro, you have to slow him down. He comes at you too fast.
Megan Kelly says she listens to him at 2.0. I don't think she's telling the truth.
Oh, I don't think that's possible.
I don't think
sounds like
tried it.
2.0.
It sounds like the chipmunks is what
Oh,
it
yeah.
sounds like on
Yeah.
speed.
Can you imagine Dave trying to listen to 2.0 and listen to Dave Shapiro or Ben Shapiro at 2.0? Like, I mean, he could barely keep up to it at half speed. So I can't imagine. Need more honey, Dave, more honey.
Yeah, more honey.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
it's
All
like
right.
listening to a Lex Friedman guest. Yeah, you have to slow it right down and listen 3 times because they're usually theoretical physicists. You're thinking, huh? What? What are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Just like on
Okay.
this podcast, it's very detailed, lots of minutia, very
Oh, yeah.
hard to understand and comprehend. It's over the heads of most people, including me.
yeah, but it passes the time.
It
Passes
does.
the time. We hope we pass some time for you out there, and hopefully you enjoyed some of it anyway.
I'd
You
love
can't
to
enjoy
talk.
all of it.
I'd love to talk. Maybe Dave can do this because he goes on and it's quite drudgery. But we can have him talk about the indigenous land claims in Richmond that all those homeowners now no longer own their homes. That's going to be very interesting. I'd love to hear Dave's take on that.
That'll be
Well,
interesting.
that's a little bit disingenuous the way you presented it. Fast and loose with the facts, but
Well, and maybe next show we can also talk about how the CARA call centers are answering 83% of the questions incorrectly. So we can get into that as well, maybe.
well, it's
So there's-
government. That's not bad. They're hitting on 20%.
Not quite
those are better
17.
than those are better than casino odds.
They are. That's very good. Good
You are
point.
correct there. You're correct there. Yeah. All right. Well, all right.
All right.
Dave Vanderzalm and Tom MacDonald and myself, Wim Vanderzalm. This has been another wonderful episode of Now We Know Better podcast. So thank you all for joining, listening. Subscribe, please, and we will see you next time on the Now We Know Better podcast.
Boy, we nailed it. They're going to love this one.
Grand.
Where is
That
he?
was grand.
Where is he?
I don't know where Tom went.
Where did he go?
Oh, I
Where'd he
pushed
go?
the wrong button.
There he is.
There, he disappeared.
I
Yes.
pushed the wrong
There it
button
is.
because I couldn't wait to get rid of you guys. Fast
Why
enough.
did you take your headphones off?
Who?
You.
I
You never had
Not
them.
have them on?
never had them on.
Oh, okay. Did you just go right through? Oh, you got a mic there.
You're really observant.
Yeah. Well, you've noticed. I should have been a detective.
Yeah. Well,
I noticed things like the Coca-Cola.
I'm
Yeah,
stopping the
that's what
recording because it's